Hi everyone, welcome to Art History 141, Renaissance to Modern, or the Survey of Art number 2. Please don't be alarmed if for some reason when you're viewing this lecture the title of the course has changed. They sometimes change to like 241 or something of that sort. You're in the right place. This is the Survey of Art number 2, and my name is Kolya Rice. I'm the instructor for this course. And what I'm attempting to do in this introductory video is to do what you would do if this were a face-to-face course, which is, the way these things work. You show up in class on the first day and the instructor hands out the syllabus, goes over the general information for the course, such as how to get in contact with me, what the description of the course is, your textbook, your responsibilities, and what the general kind of outline of the course is. Hopefully at this point you will have received and read the introductory email that I sent you. If you haven't for some reason read that or seen that, you signed up for the course late or whatever happened, you can find that introductory email as the first announcement for the course. There's also a link to it on the syllabus page on Canvas as well as before this video. So if you haven't already seen that, go read that first, print it out, look it over. You should also probably print out the syllabus so that as I'm going through this today, you can jot down any notes that you need to take or any questions that you might have that you need answers to. So as I said in the introductory email, online teaching is relatively new to me. I've taught art history for the last 25 years or so, but it's only in the last 5 years that I've really been working online. And so I'm not perfect at this. I need your help. I need you, whenever you have a question or you run into a problem, to be on top of it. Feel free to reach out to me through email or by posting something in one of our discussion forums, or in particular, you'll see in the first module a fact discussion forum, frequently asked questions. If you've got a question, the answer to which might be useful to other students, go ahead and post that there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can on that. And anytime along the way, if you have a suggestion for making this course better, let me know. I really want to make this the best course that it can possibly be. So on the screen in front of you, you will see one of the major ways that content is delivered in this course, a Panopto Lecture. If you are viewing this on your browser, right now you might see my face kind of down as a little square in the bottom right-hand corner, but if you toggle over the bottom of the screen, you'll see other ways that you can rearrange this video, at least in Panopto, so that you can minimize my face even further. You can even not be looking at me. There's no reason to look at me, and just close that little window out so that you get a bigger image on the screen of what is on my desktop. Right now, what is the major part of the screen should be the syllabus in front of you. And in the future, and this is most important in the future, when I am giving illustrated lectures, you'll see artworks on the screen. And that's where it's important to really have a big image. Don't try to view these on your phone, right? It won't work very well. And you can close or minimize my face and just listen to me talk so that you can get a bigger image on the screen. So again, my name is Kolya Rice. I don't go by formalities, so when you're addressing me in an email or online, you can just call me Kolya by my first name. The meeting times for this class, it's completely online. There's no other component to this. It's not hybrid. Everything can happen online. If you need to see me face-to-face, I have office hours open on Tuesday this quarter, or in the future it might be a different quarter if you're viewing this in the future, but I can always be reached by email, or you can make an appointment to see me face-to-face if that's necessary, and I'm more than happy to make myself available. So just reach out to me. Most of the time, students will get in touch with me through my email, which is on the syllabus, and I will respond to you within 24 hours. If for some reason I don't, feel free to pester me, but for the most part, I check my email fairly frequently and respond to it diligently. Let's go over the course description. If you've never had an art history course, survey art history courses try to cover a big amount of time over the course of the quarter. They're kind of general introductions to the history of art. And in this case, this course, students will explore the major movements and key artistic figures in painting, sculpture, and other visual art forms and architecture from the late medieval and early Renaissance to the end of the 18th century. In other words, we'll be looking at the period, roughly speaking, between the High Gothic period all the way up until the Industrial Revolution. Employing the interdisciplinary methods of visual analysis used in art history, students develop visual literacy and critically engage in visual art from around the world to consider distinctions and intersections between cultures and examine the social, political, economic, historical context of art, including systems of power, privilege, inequality, and identity. The stylistic periods and cultures and persistent themes include Classicism, European Renaissance, Baroque, Mesoamerica, Rococo, and the representation of gender, race, class, and ethnicity. That's a lot, so let me break it down for you. Basically, art history is not just, as many people think, putting up pictures and talking about their visual characteristics. That's a key component of the course. But what I'm most interested in as an art historian is the way that these paintings and sculptures and forms of architecture actually embody the belief systems of the people who produce them. In other words, they're like visual records of a time and a place. They're a way for you to come into contact with your history and the history of, in this case, particularly the West, by looking at the visual records of those periods. Artists are products of their own age. They create works of art that are embodied with the beliefs of that age. And by analyzing the works of art, we can get pretty far in understanding what people thought of at a particular time, what was important to them, what they liked, what they didn't like, and what meant something to them. And that's what I really focus on in this class. The course content, topics, and themes. The content, topics, and themes of this course will include the following: painting and sculpture and other visual art forms and architecture from about 1300 to 1800. We start a little bit before that with some backdrop in the High Gothic period. The social, political, economic, and historical context of art. Context is a term that sometimes throws people. The context of a work of art is basically what was going on at the time that the art was produced. What was happening in politics? Were there any big wars? Were there any economic upheavals? How did people think about things like what a woman is, what a man is, what their religious beliefs are, and so forth? World artistic traditions, visual representations of dominant ideological assumptions of cultures, technological advancements and their impacts on the visual arts and architecture, changes in the traditional role of the artist, changes in art education and exhibition, and this is very important, I want you to become familiar with the analytic methodologies employed in the discipline of art history, which again is a big term that just is meant to say, how does art history analyze and interpret works of art, and how might you use those approaches that are a part of art history to analyze and to interpret your world, which is saturated with visual information, right? You can take ideas and the tools that you'll learn in this class and apply them to things like movies, to contemporary art, to even your browser page and how, visual media is affecting you. Now to the way that this course is organized. Participants will work their way through sequences of materials and assignments organized in weekly modules on Canvas. according to their own individual schedules and with a great degree of flexibility. In a few cases where there is a fixed time that a student will need to adhere to, which this quarter there won't be many, if any at all, multiple time slots will be offered so that everyone will be able to participate as fits their schedule. In other words, at the beginning of the week, and whenever possible, I will open these modules the Friday before the week that assignments are due. You have an entire week to work your way through the various assignments. The assignments such as viewing the video lectures, doing the reading topics, responding to discussion forums, and writing summary reflective essays. So you'll have a whole week on this. If you're worried about timing, you've got a lot of time to work through this at your own pace. Please note, each weekly module will open at the very latest on the Monday morning for that week. And as I just said, whenever possible, I'll open these on the Friday before. Before this time, you'll not be able to access the module. Once a module has been opened, and if you haven't worked on Canvas before, a module is a fancy term that just means an organizational unit, a little block of things that you're supposed to do in that week. Once that module has been opened, it will remain open and be available for you through the entire quarter, so that if you want to return to a topic, if you need to review materials before a quiz, they're not going away. Once they're open, you can always go back to them. Course content will be delivered through a series of Panopto video lectures such as this, and coordinated readings where participants will explore the history of visual arts. Online discussion forums, reflective papers on readings and lectures, online quizzes and assignments have been designed to encourage you to engage with the course topics, foster creative and critical thinking, and to allow dialogue concerning visual representation of past cultures, and to allow me, the instructor, to assess and evaluate your progress. The textbook for this course is required. It's by Marilyn Stokestad. It's called Art History. It's the 5th edition, volume number 2. You should be able to find this at the bookstore or on Amazon. Please note that this textbook is now being replaced by the 6th edition. The reason I stuck with the 5th edition is that it's going to be a little bit cheaper for you. If you find yourself wanting to have the 6th edition for some reason, go ahead and buy it. But the pagination in the reading assignments is associated and keyed to the 5th edition, so it might take you a little bit of work to go through your 6th edition and figure out which pages I want you to read, but it's completely doable. It's not hard to figure that stuff out. The other readings are electronic reserve or ER PDF files of special topic readings. There are about 5 of these through the course of the quarter, and they will all be posted as links on Canvas. A word about this. Your textbook starts with the early Renaissance, and because in this class I'm going to give us a little backdrop on the High Gothic period, I have included chapters from the textbook for the High Gothic period on Canvas. They're PDF files. Don't worry about it. You'll find them when you get to that module. Also, in the off chance that you haven't got your textbook when the course started, you'll find that the introductory chapter, the use notes, and introduction to the text are also available to you as PDF files. So you've got about 2 weeks from the start of this course to have your textbook in hand and be prepared for, I think we start reading directly out of the textbook in week 3. Before that, I have created PDF files of the textbook readings. Your responsibilities: you will have 2 quizzes spaced over the course of the quarter, 15% of your grade each, for a total of 30% of the overall grade. Each quiz will require you to write short answers and longer essays on topics covered in the Panopto lectures and readings. These are open note quizzes. You may return to the lectures and readings when composing your answers. Each quiz will only cover the topics for that 5-week section of the course. In other words, they're not comprehensive. And these quizzes are graded on a 100-point scale. Let me say this again. When you get to week number 5 and we have a quiz, That quiz will open on probably the Friday before that week is even open. In other words, before, it'll give you a full kind of beginning weekend to work on this before even the week's materials are due. And you'll have an entire week, about 7 to 9 days, to work on that quiz. So if you're worried about timing, or you have accommodations that say that you need more time for quizzes and so forth, you're going to have plenty of time for those, as long as, of course, you're on top of them. A major component of this class are what I call summary reflective essays on reading and lecture assignments. These are spaced over the course of the quarter. They're informal writing assignments in which what you will be asked to do, and there'll be specific prompts for this on Canvas, is to summarize the key ideas in the readings and the video lectures for that week. This is to ensure that participants have a strong comprehension of the key ideas from the course readings and lectures, and to allow me to offer feedback. Every one of the readings will have reading guides with them to help guide you through what I think the most important ideas are in that writing. Generally speaking, if you can answer the questions that I pose in the reading guide in an elaborate and detailed way, right? Not just with a one-sentence answer, but as if you were explaining the idea to someone else, you know that you're getting what I want you to get from those readings. If we move on to the next page, the final major component of your responsibilities is your participation in weekly discussion forums. The topics of this course can lend themselves to rich discussion, and candidly, this is often difficult to achieve in an online course. My hope is that you will engage with each other respectfully and thoughtfully in the weekly online discussion forums. Each week, I will provide you with specific topics, ideas, and issues raised in the lectures and readings. Each student will be required, and this is important, to make one post in the discussion forum before the end of the day on Wednesdays. Once you have posted, you will be able to see other students' posts. Sometimes I will allow you to see other students' posts before you post. And you will be required to respond to at least one of these posts from another student by the end of the day on Fridays. This is just about in every discussion forum. So let me go over it again. You will do your readings, you'll view the lectures, and then you will come across these discussion forums. It will have a specific prompt for you saying, hey, do this, and you're to post a fairly substantial discussion post. If you're only posting 2 sentences, that's not enough. You want to have at least a paragraph in your discussion post, and it has to be in by Wednesday. The reason that I make these due by Wednesday is if you have your discussion post in by Wednesdays, that gives people time to read them over and to respond to them. You're then required, every one of you, to respond to at least one student's post by the end of the day on Fridays. You are welcome and encouraged and will receive extra credit if you do more than that. Let's say you make a very long post, it's very thoughtful, and then you respond to 2 or 3 other students' posts, and this encourages a very rich discussion. I take that into account. The minimum is 1 post, an initial post on Wednesday, and 1 post, a response to one of your peers by Friday. But if you want to really pad your grade, or you're feeling really excited about a topic, feel free to post a number of times and respond a number of times. Late papers and discussion post policies. Papers are marked down 1 day for each point, 1 point for each day that they are late, and I can't accept them if they're turned in more than 5 calendar days following the due date. If you have something big going on getting in your way and you need help with something, you have a sickness or something like that, please email me promptly about that and I will do my best to work with you. Discussion posts will be marked down 2 points for each day they are late and will not be accepted if they're more than 3 days late. The reason for this more strict policy with discussion posts is that, you're part of a team, so to speak. You're all working together, and if you're posting late all the time, it doesn't give people time to respond to your posts. And so I need to be a little bit of a stickler around this. Again, if you have serious conflicts or an emergency, please email me in advance of the due date and I will work with you. There's a 10-point scale that corresponds to your weekly discussion forums and your summary essays that you see here, and a 100-point scale that will be used to assess your work on your quizzes. So at this point, I'm going to have you read over on your own time the course outcomes. This is a big part of Cascadia's approach to active learning or learning-based outcomes. And, you know, this just gives you an idea of what we're looking for, but I don't see any reason for me to read it over with you. The bottom line is this. The approach at Cascadia is that we give you assignments and we set forth a very clear set of criteria by which you can achieve success in these assignments. And then we assess how close you came to getting a perfect score, so to speak. And we give you feedback on that, and we look for you to get better over the course of the quarter. And if you get better and better, that very much impacts your grade. If you stay the same or you get worse at things, you're not taking into account our feedback or assessment, then that's, of course, not great. So I'm going to jump forward here. I'm not going to go through all of this, the syllabus learning agreement and so forth. Read over this on your own time and get to the outline of the course schedule. So you see on course outline and schedule here in front of you and on your syllabus that there are specific prompts for the assignments listed below on Canvas, right? So in week number 1, you see here in module number 1, you have an introduction to art history in the course. You're in that module right now viewing the introductory video lecture. There is another introductory video lecture that gives you some of the basics about art history and art history terminology. So you look at those videos, you take your notes on those videos just like you're in a course. Don't just view them, by the way. Actually take notes. You don't want to have to go back to these later on when you're writing an essay or generating a discussion post or even working on a quiz. You want to have this information in your notes. And then you see other assignments. In week number 1, module number 1, you have a discussion forum where I've asked you to write a brief personal bio and post it. You'll see the prompt on Canvas. And another discussion forum in this first week, which is just to get the ball rolling. I'm going to ask you to give your own definition of what is art. Be as specific as you can about this. You can't be wrong about this. I'm looking for your own rationale, and it's meant to generate a discussion early on. The readings, read the use notes and introduction from your textbook, which I provided for you as a PDF file on Canvas. Every week, something like this occurs. You see in week number 2, we start with the Gothic arts and architecture, and you've got Panopto video lecture, you've got a discussion forum, and you've got a summary essay, reflective essay assignment, and some reading assignments. So every week, something like this will occur, except for the weeks where you have a quiz where you have a little bit more work to do. Hopefully that gives you a general introduction to the course. Let me know anywhere along the way if you've got any questions. I'm here to make this the best experience that it can be for you. I love art history. It's, obviously I've spent my life with it, and I think it's something you're really going to be excited about as well. And I'm here to support you and to get you through this course successfully, hopefully to impart to you a lifelong interest in arts and visual culture, and of course to satisfy whatever requirements this is satisfying for you in the course of your own education. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lecture, so to speak.